In around 30 years, we went from Pong to Halo. In 20 years, we went from Halo to virtual reality games that are bordering on photorealistic. So imagine what we could create given 100, 500, or even 1,000 years. Welcome to the dojo. If you've heard of the simulation hypothesis, it's likely that you've heard about the materialistic version that was posited by Nick Bostrom, and is considered viable by people like Elon Musk and Neil deGrasse Tyson. This involves a physical species, either elsewhere in the universe or in the future, that creates a virtual reality that is indistinguishable from base reality, and that's where we currently reside. I mean, if you think about it, quantum mechanics argues that life is not set in stone, but is probabilistic. That what we see doesn't actually become real until it's observed. Just like in a computer simulation. The speed of light may essentially be the speed of our CPU, and the fact that quantum entangled particles can affect each other instantaneously, i.e. faster than the speed of light, from billions of miles apart, could suggest that distance doesn't actually exist in the first place. Physical distance doesn't exist in a computer simulation. It's all just different data points. But if you go beneath the surface in a virtual reality game, the characters you encounter in it do not reside in the reality frame of the person who invented the game. The character is just ones and zeros, while the creator exists in a reality where there are real consequences for our actions, and they can really hurt. So, it's not too big of a cognitive leap to think that if we're living in a virtual reality now, that it may not be another physical being that created the reality. It could just as likely be a non-physical consciousness that we'll never be able to understand. This is the consciousness wing of the simulation hypothesis. The basic idea has been floating around for millennia, but has become popularized lately by physicist Tom Campbell, who not only studied physics, but also out-of-body experiences. But besides Tom, think about it. The mystics of every religion throughout history seem to be saying the same thing. In Hinduism, we live in Maya, or better translated as illusion. In Buddhism, there is the life of suffering and rebirth that we live in called samsara, and then there is nirvana. In Christianity, the Apostle Paul once said that what we see now is like through a dark glass or mirror, but beyond here we will see God face to face. So even the world's religions argue that we're not living in base reality. And with the emerging details of quantum physics becoming better known, many are considering this a viable option in the scientific community as well. Physicist Tom Campbell argues that where the flaw may lie in the materialistic wing of the simulation hypothesis is thinking too narrow, thinking that our creators are just like us.
They generally can only think of the source as being something like us. Therefore, it has to be us in the future. Thinking outside of that box that it's something other than us is harder. My model now is based on consciousness. Consciousness is fundamental, and from consciousness, everything else is derived. Now, that makes sense from a very fundamental viewpoint, because what are you conscious of? You are conscious only of your sense data. What you see, hear, smell, taste, feel, that is what you're conscious of. Take all that away, and what would you be conscious of? So consciousness is an information system, and information systems evolve by lowering our entropy.
And while social systems are much less predictable than information systems, they aren't as far apart as we may think.
A social system optimizes the lowering of entropy by cooperating, by caring, by working together, by sharing, by being open to other person's ideas, and by having ideas of your own that you share. Okay? That optimizes a social system. So what is it that we are supposed to do as individuated chunks of consciousness? We are to learn to care and share and cooperate. We're to become love. And that's why we have a virtual reality.
He's currently conducting physics experiments to test his theories, that us as humans on planet Earth are really just avatars for something much larger.
The humans that are in this virtual reality are avatars. Okay, so we're the players, we're a piece of consciousness. The humans that we play are avatars. Where'd they come from? Well, this virtual reality was not programmed. This virtual reality evolved. It started with a set of initial conditions and a rule set. That's it. There's nothing more than that. The initial conditions was a ball of plasma, very high temperature, very high pressure, And the rule set was how that ball of plasma was allowed to change with time. The rule set is science. That's what scientists do. They try to dig out what the rules are. So the run button's hit, that ball of plasma expands and cools, and you know the Big Bang Theory about how that works. As time goes on, we end up with this universe, we end up with our sun, our planet, because all that evolves. So that's how the virtual reality was created. It evolved.
While none of these theories have yet to be proven, and who knows, maybe never will, it does reflect just how intricate our theories can get, and if we're in an infinite universe, how much more intricate they can become. So it doesn't stand too far out of reason to believe that there are many levels and realms beyond what we currently understand. And if the character in Halo that is created out of ones and zeros will never be able to understand a reality frame where eating cheesecake still tastes really, really, really good, then perhaps we should entertain the idea that whatever created us is in a reality frame that we will never be able to understand. The consciousness simulation hypothesis is starting to get traction. However, what I told you about just now is the lesser known version of the hypothesis. For the one that caught Elon Musk and Neil deGrasse Tyson's eye, click on the video right here.